Wala namang pinagbago lumandi eh. Kahit naman before pa, no, may social media, lahat naman ng tao lumalandi na sa social media. Kahit yung mga naabot mo yung Friends for Sale, Farmville, kung bibigay ka, pahingin naman ng puno dyan, bibigyan mo ng puno yung type mo. Mas naging intense lang ang mga bagay-bagay kasi the things you do on social media is more amplified. Kasi nga wala na yung physical contact. Mas nabibigyan kahulugan na lang natin ngayon kasi nga wala na less yung physical contact. Pero in terms of paglalandi, ganun pa rin siya. You like, you share, you heart, you react. Still the same even before the pandemic, and that's what people did. Mas napapansin na lang natin ngayon yung landi at mas na-amplify siya dahil lahat tayo nasa bahay. Pero walang nagbago. For me, walang nagbago sa how you make landi. Ganun pa rin yun. You tweet, you heart, you comment, you put 100, you put flaming hot emoji, whatever, heart, whatever. Still the same. Still the same.
Hello to everyone all over the world. Magkakasama na naman tayo sa panibagong kwentuhan. The Ganito Kasi Yan Pod, a podcast wherein we talk about anything and everything under the sun with me, your host, Jacob Maquiling. And welcome to episode number 8. Alam ko, 2 weeks na tayong hindi nakakapag-release ng episode. Nilamon na tayo ng ACADS at ng pamantasan ng De La Salle, pero kinakaya pa naman at lalaban. So, for this week, may makakasama tayong prestigious guest, isa sa mga special episodes natin to because we are joined by the one and only Junjun ng Hello Stranger and an amazing theater actor. That is all welcome, Miguel Almendras. Hello. Hello,
Good day, good
Miguel.
evening, good day, good afternoon, lunch, whatever. Hello, hi guys. Hello.
Hello, Miguel. Kamusta naman? How are you and what have you been up to lately naman?
Honestly, I'm just at home most of the time. I got vaccinated na, first dose. So I'm waiting for my last and final dose ng AstraZeneca bandang August. So that's what I'm doing. I have a couple of things that I'm supposed to be doing for projects. But the thing is with projects kasi they're never final until you're on the set or when you're doing it. Kasi yung pandemic, napakahirap gumalaw. Not just for this industry that I'm in, but across the board. Mapaanong industry ka man, hirap na hirap talagang kumilos. So mostly I'm at home. Sometimes I stream. Most of the time pala, I stream. So that's what I've been busy doing, watching some series here and there. Ganun. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Pero congratulations on your first dose of vaccine.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, everyone listening, if you can, please do get your doses already.
Oo naman, you should really get yourself vaccinated. Kasi number one, we're all taxable. I'd like to think na most of us, karamihan sa atin ay nagbabayad ng tax. Kung hindi ka man na-declare ng tax sa BIR regularly, when you go to a restaurant, you're paying for tax. All of us are paying for tax. So I recommend guys, apply lang ng apply till you are lucky enough to get yourself vaccinated. Kasi at least I've heard stories and medyo yun yung nangyari sa akin. Sinamahan ko yung mom ko magbabakuna, may maintenance siya. So she falls under the A3 category. Bakunahan siya. Tapos nung day na yon may mga sobra. So they gave it away. Kasi there are people, guys, kaya apply lang ang apply sa mga vaccination centers or even sa mga NGOs that provide vaccines. Kasi nga, kapag may mga hindi sumisipot sa mga schedule na yon, you may be one of the lucky ones to get yourself vaccinated.
So you were able to walk in lang?
I had a schedule naman, but tinanggap naman nila yung schedule ko kasi marami rin sobra. Kasi kasama ko na rin yung mom ko. So parang ganun yung nangyari. Tsaka, I think nung time na nagpabakuna ako a couple of weeks ago, it was also the time na marami din mag-expire na bakuna. Which is, I think, may mga ganung balita, di ba?
Yeah. There's a lot of balita of mga vaccine. Ang daming sobrang vaccine na hindi pa na So yeah, people should get their vaccines if they can already talaga. Yun, congrats on the success of Hello Stranger. How does it feel na ganito kalaki yung impact niya? And ganito maraming tao yung na-touch and maraming tao yung sumuporta sa project niyo na yun.
Overwhelming. For sure, overwhelming. Kasi number one, nung ginawa namin siya, yung Hello Stranger, the series, not the movie. Yung series muna, kasi doon naman talagang start yun. When we were doing it, okay, fine. I knew it was a big project. I mean, Tony was there. Library was there. And then we had people like me, Jillian, Patrick, Mean, Espinosa, and a whole bunch of people more. But genuinely, hindi ko na-expect. I was expecting a couple. Kasi nga, it was one of those things na okay, lockdown tayo ngayon. We're gonna be streaming this on YouTube. So you had no idea how this was going to pick up, di ba? Hindi tayo sanay sa ganitong platform. Usually tayo sa TV or sa iWant. And back then, iWant was doing some rebranding, I guess. Nag-merge sila with TFC kung yun nagkakamali. So, unexpected. Sobrang unexpected na nag-hit siya. We were the second BL to come out, followed by Game Boys. But also, we were one of the very most viewed. I think until now, most viewed pa rin ng Hello Stranger on YouTube. So it's very overwhelming the amount of support and love. And nakakataba siya ng puso.
Before naman Hello Stranger, what were your career beginnings? How did you start in the industry? And yun muna tayo. Before we focus on a lot of on the other things that you have done throughout your career, how did you start in the industry? And
I mean, theater or sa film and TV?
so were you in theater ba during college already?
Yes. Nag-start
Oh.
ako nung college sa Tanghalang Ateneo. Doon ako nag-start. Because I used to be a visual artist. Sinasabi ko naman to sa mga tao. I used to draw and paint and stuff like that. Tapos pagdating ko sa Ateneo, I was looking for something na related sa arts pa rin. You know, as a club. Kasi may mga iba't ibang clubs dyan. I forgot orgs pala. Sorry, orgs. And then I realized I wanted to do something related to the arts. Problem lang, naghahanap ako ng mga traditional mediums like painting, sketching, wala. Mostly mga ID, information design, mga ganun, graphics, diba? So, and photography. So sabi ko, okay, I want to pursue the arts pa rin. Kahit na-com major ako, that's the course I finished. So sabi ko, okay, sige, I'll do something with the arts. And then my friend recommended to me, I watched the play when I was in high school. Na college play siya. I watched it, and they were holding auditions. Sabi niya, you should try out. Sabi ko, I don't act. Sabi niya, no, try it out. I mean, it's still arts. Performing arts nga lang. And then the rest is history. So for the remainder of my college time, I was in theater for 4 years. I started doing film 2018. 2018 ako nag-start. That was my first ever project. Of course, before nun, commercial, short films here and there, ganon. But 2018 talaga yung doon ako nag-start in some way na nagsunod-sunod. Hindi man nagsunod-sunod, but slowly getting traction on the things that I was doing. So ang pinaka-first film ko was Sine Filipina Matatapang. At na-discover lang din ako dahil din sa mga short films na nagawa ko na parang, sino to? I'd like to make him audition. Then, sino yun? Then Glorious, then sunod-sunod na siya. Parang ganun yung nangyari sa akin.
Pero prior to entering acting in college, were you already interested or parang from a young age?
No.
From a young age, interested ka na in acting, or was it only in college?
College lang siya. I was never interested in acting when I was in high school. No. Kasi I didn't know. Wala naman akong experience sa acting. Actually, may stage fright pa nga ako nung high school ako. So, wala akong ganung aspect. Although nagsimula na lang din yan dahil nga when I was picking my course, sabi nila mag-com major ka. Total, magaling ka naman magsalita. So sabi nila, baka magamit mo rin sa acting yan. So, tako, ibang acting eh. So, which I found out. Obviously, ibang talaga ang craft ng acting. So, yeah, that's what happened to me. Pero honest to goodness, wala. Nung high school ako, if I had to go back in time and talk to myself, alam mo ba, arte ka? Talaga, yun ang sasabihin ko sa 18, 17-year-old self ko.
Pero, di ba you've mentioned then on your stream, like, you've done behind the scenes work. How did, was it also, did you always see yourself during college to be in the industry or?
No rin. Because what happened to me was, graduate ako, I can't remember when I graduated, I'm so sorry. Ang track ko kasi sa com was ad and PR. So, which is funny kasi never ko siya pinactice. Pero nung graduate ako, dahil nag-theater ako, and 4 years sa theater or Tanghalang Ateneo, sabi ko sa sarili ko, okay, let's give it a shot. And nag-enjoy naman ako. So, pinursue ko yung pagta-teatro, yung sa labas and everything. At actually, dumating nga yung point, 2017, sabi ko, I'll do corporate. Corporate na ako, ayoko to, hindi to sustainable, or parang wala naman nangyayari. Then I got my first film in 2018. Parang ganun yung nangyari sa akin. And di ko talaga in-expect. Kasi when I graduated, I always told myself, I'm gonna try it out, and then we'll see. Hindi ko naman talaga in-expect that until now, it's 2021, I can't remember if I graduated 2017, parang ganun, that I'm still doing it. Diba? So, no, I really did not expect. this is what I would be doing. Parang I just took a chance. Nag-theater na ako. Sige, gawin natin to. Ganun.
So, graduating from college, what was your motivation in staying in acting? Kasi 'di ba, your comms major, you could go on other tracks, on other fields, pero what made you stay in acting?
Nag-enjoy ako eh. I'm really happy when I'm doing it. And I think that's one of the things na made me hold on to it. Kahit na alam kong mahirap siya. Kasi may mga, honestly, you cannot do theater lang in the Philippines. Ang hirap din gawin. Theater alone. Kung nasa ibang bansa ka, siguro you can make a living, a decent living out of it. Pero kung theater ka lang dito sa Pilipinas, ang hirap. Ang hirap. So definitely what made me stay and pursue it was nag-enjoy ako, happy ako. Sobrang happy ako when I'm doing it. The lifestyle of it, the friends, a lot of friends I met through theater, and of course now to film. So yun, that's what made me stay. And
So,
keep on going.
So did you ever, syempre nag-sink in din yun na parang there's this notion na parang the lifestyle is not really that money is not really that overflowing sa theater. So was it ever a worry, or parang how did you surpass that stage na parang syempre adulting, isipin mo din, how would I pay the bills and all that? How did you surpass that challenge of syempre that notion towards theater?
Well, okay, in terms of money and yung ganyan, which is true, totoo naman. Actually, most theater actors that I know, they do corporate jobs. Diba? They do corporate jobs, they do this and that. So kaya nga, ang ginagawa sa theater, hindi nga lang pwede yun. So, what I did, especially yung mga time na yun, I really tried to juggle lots of things. Audition and audition. Hindi lang pwede theater. Kung may commercial na available, try lang. Mag-audition ako for this, mag-audition ako for that. Even for events. Sumasali ako sa events or hosting. Lahat ng pwedeng gawin at pwedeng salihan in some way, ginagawa ko. With regards to money matters yan, para lang mag-survive. Kasi nga, ang hirap talaga na yun lang ang sustainable. That's why I think most people na in theater, nasa TV rin or film, they tend to jump back and forth. Or ibang mga tao rin na ang daming theater production. Yung isang beses sa Atlantis siya, bigla nasa PETA na siya. Or bigla nandun na siya sa Repertory Philippines. 3 prod at the same time. Kasi nga, you have to be able to, parang as much as possible, ako kasi hindi ko gusto yung feeling na nababakante ako. Yung pag pinakita ko yung calendar ko, wala akong rehearsal. Meron akong anxiety na doon parang wala akong ginagawa, ayoko nun. So as much as possible, and that's how I did cope with that, which I really made sure to always have something to do that would help me earn whatever that thing may be.
Yes, I agree. Parang feeling ko sa theater, kailangan ka din madiskarte ka din. Like, grabe, parang inisip ko paano na nababalance lahat yun, parang they need to memorize all these lines and rehearse and all that. And then, nagagawa pa nila yon. So parang, you really need to be madiskarte, no, in theater.
Oh. And not just in theater, but in life.
Yeah, I agree. Pero if not acting or not theater, where did you see yourself before? And if you're not in this industry?
Ad and PR. Mostly PR. Mostly PR more than ad. Kasi yun talaga yung, I guess yun din na sinabi sa akin ni Sir Menta, na yung teacher ko. Sabi niya, Migs, or creatives. Yun talaga yung advice sa akin, Migs, whatever happens kung magko-corporate ka, make sure na sa creatives ka. Yun talaga yung bilin niya sa akin. So, that's where I saw myself. Kung hindi naman ako nag-comm major, probably I'd be doing something na psychology. Kung hindi psych, malamang I'd pursue pa rin something related sa arts kasi mom ko, designer siya. So, I actually wanted to be an architect. Pero hindi ko naman pinursue, nag-comm na lang ako. So, yun lang naman yung mga nakita ko, at least when I was growing up, yung mga pwede kong puntahan. Most baka events. Yan, events. Pwede rin pala events. Event planning, yan.
Yeah. So, speaking about the roles that you play, what role did you were most excited about? Especially in portraying, in learning, and in being that character?
Alam mo, that's a hard question to ask kasi I can be excited for different reasons. For example, Hello Stranger, one of the major reasons kaya ako na-excite dyan, may trabaho ako ng pandemic. I mean, isang malaking bagay yan na may trabaho ako ng pandemic. At the same time na with the shutdown, di ba? Yung, oh God, may trabaho ako. So definitely excited ako dyan. Siguro, recent memory, dalawa. Teta Under My Skin as Jonathan Sales. Kasi when I took on the role, Sinabihan ako na, oy, mag-aerial dancing ka. Ako, aerial dancing? Wala akong alam dyan. May workshop. Okay, sige. So natuto ako mag-aerial dancing para sa role na yun. So doon ako na-excite, number one. Kasi may skill sets na matututunan ka usually when you're doing something. In any role naman, sometimes you have to learn something for the role. And that's, I think, one of the things that excites me in any role that I do. So, yun talaga. I mean, it was a advocacy play, and first time ko magpeta. So, it's about HIV, first time ko magpeta. So, that's very memorable. And itong Black Sheep na to, Hello Stranger, it's, I think, the biggest role, the most mainstream role that I've ever gotten, ever. Kasi, for example, I worked with Tony before, sa Glorious, pero I think I was also support there. Pero ito parang ensemble na cast na, di ba? So, ito, yeah, I think yun yung mga two roles that I was most excited for in recent memory.
Yun din yung maganda sa theater na parang you get to challenge yourself na on things na you don't expect yourself to do, na parang hindi mo naman alam na kaya mo to, or hindi mo alam na pwede mo tong gawin, pero na-explore mo, and na you are capable of doing more than what you expected yourself to do, diba?
That's to. I mean, that's the amount of stuff that I had to learn through theater. Sa Gamelan, sa UP, Kontragapi, I had to learn. For Sindandalisay before, when I was studying in Ateneo, traditional music, Igal, traditional tawi-tawi dance. I had to learn kendo for a play. So, marami ka talaga matutunan na. And not just skills, but you also discover things about yourself as you're doing something. Kasi you explore yourself, your body, your mind, your psyche, and you tend to discover things that you might not be familiar before.
What role was the hardest naman for you to embody?
Sa PETA. Because I was portraying a real person with HIV. And that's hard to do. That's super hard to do. When you're portraying a real person, that's very difficult, even for me. Yun yung isang bagay na discover ko while doing that play. Unlike before, alam mo mga fictional characters to, wala kang pagbabasihan in some way. Pero ito totoong tao na to. And I think I met the person that I was portraying. So, yun yung ang hirap nun, ang tedious nun. Because not just that, but you are portraying something of with na may advocacy. So, alam mo yung hindi ka pa pwedeng it's very important that you portray it correctly. So, yun.
Yeah, I agree. Parang iba talaga pag totoong tao yung pinoportray mo, you really need to give justice to the role.
Yeah, and you have to be truthful.
And what is the role that you really dream to play, na parang to portray, or parang what kind of character would you like to
I
explore
always say
pa?
this sa mga pag tinatanong ako nila, isa na naman ang sagot ko dyan. Lagi ko sinasagot dyan, gusto ko may kontrabida. Yan lagi yung sinasabi na role, gusto kong i-pursue. Something na either kontrabida, third wheel, or foil. Yan yung mga gusto kong role. Because usually ang role na pupunta sa akin, best friend, comic relief, minsan dramatic roles. I've had a variety of roles actually. Gay roles, which is fun din naman. But pinaka gusto ko talaga na so far, and I think because wala pa akong ganun, would be something na kontrabida na role, villainous role. Pwede, maybe one day, diba? But wala. Honestly, wala talagang specific. Right now. Siguro kung ako ikakas ko sarili ko, malamang lang yan, anak ng isang kontrabida, usually ganun. Or mga ganun, most likely. Kasi ako, aminado naman ako rin sa facial structure ko, aminado ako doon. And that's why I think yun yung interesting for me. Kaya gusto ko makakuha. Kasi with my facial structure, that's why I understand that I get good roles. Boy next door roles. Comic roles. Okay. Gay roles. Which is, I understand. Definitely understand why I get casted those things. That's why I want to get yung kontrabida na role. Which I think would be interesting for me.
Yeah, that's also what I wanted to say, na parang very interesting din maging kontrabida si Migs, kasi parang yung face niya very very mabait very mabait looking, ganon. Very parang hindi mo makita anong pagiging kontrabida and pagkakaroon ng masamang damo sa katawan, ganon. So let's talk naman about Hello Stranger since
Okay.
we've talked about it kanina. How hard is it doing the series remote and especially na parang yung environment is different lalo na sa pre-pandemic na parang syempre ikaw are you the type of actor ba that also thrives in physical contact and connection kasi parang syempre ang hirap noon pag you don't really see the person you're acting with and then hindi mo
Hmm.
nahahawakan hindi wala ka talagang personal connection ganon.
Hmm. It was difficult. It took some time to adjust kasi you have to understand we were doing it at our own houses,
Mm.
no? So all of those lahat na nakikita mo sa series, mga bahay namin yun. Yeah. So ang nangyari dyan, they sent us some stuff. Tapos kami kasi nga, siyempre, karahukan pa ng pandemic noon, talagang peak na lahat ng mga tao, takot talaga, sanitizing, etc. So, we had to set that up on our own, diba? Vivory was in Bohol, so hindi sila nakapagpadala ng gamit sa kanya. So, yun yung naging mahirap na aspect dyan. Tapos, we were all doing it via Zoom, which was unique, via Zoom. So, the setup was we had like two to three devices. One device was for Zoom and the other one was for recording. So, basically, if I'm using this for Zoom, I have another device on top of this device that I use for recording myself. And you had to talk as if looking at the other recording device as if may kausap ka sa Zoom. So basically, parang boses lang ang narinig mo sa tao. Kasi yung Zoom yung ginagamit ni na Direct Peterson nung time na nila to give us comments and feedbacks. Pero nakatingin talaga kami sa recording device. So it created that illusion na kausap talaga namin is yung isa't isa. So
So
yun yung ginawa na.
So you don't really see yung mga Zoom scenes niyo, hindi talaga kayo nagkakakitaan nun?
Nagkakarinigan kami, pero pero ako hindi ko sila nakikita kasi hindi naman ako nakatingin sa kanila. Nakatingin ako dun sa mismong lens nung kung saan ako nagre-record. Tapos meron pa ako isang device na they provided to record the audio in a good way. So, yun yung time namin. Tapos we had to rehearse. We really had to rehearse kasi it takes time. You have to set up your camera properly. Ito, the way we're zooming right now, pag sinabi ni Direk, tanggalin mo yung nasa likod mo, they have to be, and they can't do that for you. You have to do that for yourself. And that takes time. So, mahaba yung proseso nun. Sobrang haba ng proseso nun. At meron pa silang outdoors. Meron pa silang outdoors sa eksena with Tony and JC. The first time they did outdoors na eksena. Iba pa yun, di ba? May mga PCR test pa yun. Everyone was coming out from a lockdown, di ba? May pa yun, may konting kaba pa yun, the protocols and everything. So, yeah.
So how hard is it na hindi mo nakikita? Lalo na, syempre you've mentioned na you're also doing it through Zoom and recording camera. How hard is it na parang you don't really see the person you're acting with? Na parang it's just the voice that you're hearing from them?
It's difficult, but you take some time after that you adjust. And you have to use a sense of imagination talaga. As if you're talking to that person, like yung lente ng camera, isipin mo yung mata ng tao in some way. So it takes some adjustment to get used to. But magiging dependent talaga sa voice ng tao. And that's what I depended, and most of us depended on. Kasi when we were doing the scene naman, may Zoom pa rin naman. So may mo yung boses ng tao, magre-react siya. Pero hindi mo nga lang siya talaga tinitingnan kasi nakatingin ka dun sa lens ng camera. So adjustment lang siya.
So how is it naman finally working with JC and the Young Padawans when it was turned into a movie, especially na yung entire relationship nyo and yung connection nyo was only built remotely? How different was the working dynamics na when it went physical?
Sige, let's talk about the 6 main muna. I'm gonna exclude Tony and Mean, no? Kasi I've known them. Mean is the longest person I've known sa buong cast. Known her for 6 years na. Tony 3 years. So I'm gonna set them aside. JC, Patrick, Jillian, and Vivory. Sila lang talaga yung mga first time ko ma-meet in person nung shoot kami ng film. Si Jillian, which is unique, and I think most of the people din naman develop this kind of relationship with people, lalo na ng pandemic. Naging close kami ni Jillian dahil sa usap lang sa chat. And, dahil nga wala yung physical connection, you try to cope with that. And you cope with that through, mga klaseng type, Zoom, video call, chat. And naging close kami ni Jillian. At naging close kami ni Jillian because nung time na ginagawa yung ABS series, not ABS, I'm a freelance actor, so lahat sila ABS. Ako lang yung hindi. And may sige. But I am part of the Young Padawans. So minsan nalileft out ako at aminado din ako doon. Minsan I felt like, hindi ako masyadong close dito sa mga to. But they were very welcoming and super, super approachable nila. But then si Jillian kasi, bilang siya yung girlfriend ni Tony, yung time na yon sa eksena. So minsan sa Twitter, hindi siya nababanggit. Nasa sapawan siya. Lagi yung Padawans, JC, Tony. So kami ni Jillian, naging close din kami because na, in some way, dalawa lang ata eksena niya nung series. Ako naman, hindi naman ako taga-ABS. So kaya kami nagkaroon ng close relationship ni Jillian. Until now, we still talk. Kinakamusta ko siya, nag-uusap naman kami. And nung nakita kami sa set ng movie, super close, wala kaming problema. As in, wala kaming problema ni Jillian. Young Padawans, which is, I was surprised kasi after the series wrapped up na, hindi na kami nag-usap masyado. I mean, konting reply, bate, dito. Pero nung nakita kami for the first time, parang barkada. Parang barkada lang kami. May group chat naman kami sa Telegram eh. Pero parang barkada talaga kami na nag-usap-usap na kami at nagkwento-kwentuhan na kami. Like yan sina Patrick, even before pa kami mag-lock-in shoot. Migs, sino roommate mo? Mga ganun pa kami mga usapan. Dadalhin mo. Dadala ako ng chips, ganito, ganito. So talagang nag-uusap, lalo na especially mga 1 month before the lock-in. Talagang sobrang nag-uusap pa kami ulit lahat. Yung talagang buhay na yung group chat namin. Ganun. So yeah, parang barkada. As if I've known them for years. That's what happened. It's like friends reunion. Parang ganun na lang isipin mo eh. Parang friends reunion lang yun. Nakita-kita kayo na, kamusta ka? Ganun lang siya. And what's amazing is, the relationship was built through a group chat, through Zoom. Yeah. And that's what I find unique about them, about my relationship with them, and what makes it so special. Because they're the only group of people na I was able to develop that kind of relationship, lalo na ngayong pandemic. Tony and Mayan naman, I've worked with them naman, worked with Tony twice, Mayan a couple of times na rin. So, Tony, parang na yan, kamusta ka? And I've hung out with him naman sa labas din ng mga shoots. So, friends naman talaga kami. So, nothing, wala namang life-changing doon. Mayan din, wala rin namang life-changing. Always here in PETA. So, ang mga bago, and it took some time to get to know, was Jay, Jin, Marcos, and Dion sa film. It took a while, but overall, lahat kami, we just clicked. All of us, kahit yung mga bagong pasok, like si Jay, Jin, Dion, and Marcos, so nag-bonding kami and really felt like a family.
Pero yun nga din yung maganda eh, na parang, it's amazing after na parang even through the connection na parang it's just through Zoom, na Messenger, na parang naka-build kayo ng friendship and once nagkita kayo, parang it's just like parang close agad kayo. Parang yun yung din eh, yun din yung maganda, no?
Mm-hmm.
So, what were you most excited about finally doing a physical shooting naman?
Meeting them in person and stepping out of the house. Alam ko namang work siya. Don't get me wrong. Alam kong work siya. And we were working there. We were following protocols. We were following guidelines. 12 hours a day. Alam ko namang work siya. But one of the things that I was most excited about, change of environment. Definitely. Change of environment. And number 2, just seeing these people that, nag-uusap kami. And I just felt so happy to finally meet them in person, to get to know them more. That was the thing that was most exciting. And of course, reprising the role of Junjun was something that I enjoyed and was exciting for me. Kasi that's the lightest role I've ever gotten. I've always told this naman sa mga interview. Yan ang pinakamagaan na role na nakuha ko sa buong buhay ko, si Junjun. He's a caricature. He's times 100 ang energy niya all the time. And that's, sure, medyo may pagkaganon ako, but sa kanya, consistent eh. So that was what I looked forward to. And plus, nasa beach kami. I mean, come on. Who won't be excited with that kind of setting? Who wouldn't be? Diba?
Pero I was wondering lang, even if kahit ganong naka-lock-in kayo and you're in a bubble, did you still need to follow yung mga protocols like kailangan may distancing between each other, hindi kayo pwede maghawakan and all that? Or
yes, we had to do that. We had to strictly follow that kapag nag-shoot kami. Kasi you have to understand, when we were shooting, meron na mga cameraman, yung mga grip na doon, may mga ang dami na ng mga tao doon.
Mm.
Pag kami-kami lang, of course, we still have to maintain distancing, pero mas relaxed kami when we're together kasi kami-kami lang naman yun eh. Pero the moment when we're shooting na, doon talaga yung talagang stick na nagbabantay up, face mask natin. Kasi nga, may mga iba ng tao na ang dami na nagbabantay ng camera, ng mga ilaw. Hindi lang kami-kami yun. And usually, ganun naman nangyayari sa mga shoot eh. Kaya may mga nagkaka-COVID pa minsan-minsan. Minsan nakakuha ng utility or ng driver na sumusundo. At yung mga nakakalusot sa mga shoot. Yung mga nakakalusot. Kaya may mga naka-hold na productions here and there. Sometimes, not saying all. So, but definitely not just that, but you just have to be very careful. Kasi nung time na yon, wala pang bakuna. Diba? Wala pang bakuna. Of course, I'm not saying that we should relax now. Kasi nga, nag-roll out pa rin ng bakuna. Pero compared to last year, compared to now, I'd like to think wala na akong, mas konti na anxiety ko compared to last year. Diba? Na talagang hindi mo alam, oh God, diba? So, yeah.
So, what do you want to see naman in the future for your character na si Junjun? Especially na, for example, for a follow-up movie or a series, lalo na a lot of people are asking about, Junjun having a love life or kung magkakaroon ba siya ng love interest and all that.
I also get asked that, number one, kung may season 2 or a follow-up film. The answer to that is, at sinagot ito ni Direct Dwayne Baltazar, kung gagawa pa yan, it will take a couple of years. It's not something that you do agad-agad. And that's something, even I agree with that sentiment, yung tipong agad-agad, pamis muna tayo. Pamis muna kami. That's one. Would I be willing to do Junjun again? Sure. Definitely, I'd be more than willing to do Junjun. But for me, gusto ko makita na may growth at may aging process na sila. Kasi kung ganun pa rin ang gagawin ko in 2 years time na, nagpa-vlog pa rin, ito pa rin yun. I don't know kung swak pa ba. Like, obviously, I've aged by then. We've all aged by then. So, hindi ko na alam kung paano siya gagawin. But, excited akong... Honestly, my friends and I were talking about it. Do I want Junjun to have a love life? So, ako personally, no. Because sa akin, okay na I mean, ganun siya character eh. Yun yung type of person that he is eh. Wala siyang love life. And in some way, kaya rin siya tumatatak kasi wala siyang love life. That's what makes what makes him unique then, di ba? Like, tsaka meron ka ng Vibery, meron ka ng Patrick, meron ka ng Daisy, meron ka ng Tony. Di ba? So sa akin, kahit hindi siya magka-love life, okay lang. But I am interested with Junjun as a character. Kung gaano siya ka-happy-go-lucky. Saan siya pupunta? I have no idea, honestly. I have no idea. Yeah.
What is your biggest similarity with Junjun? Gaano ka-similar si Migs kay Junjun?
Similar kami sa sense of humor, sa hirap namin. But definitely, I always tell that naman to my friends na lahat you draw upon certain personal characteristics and traits, no? Tapos sina-amplify mo na lang. Kasi hindi naman ako ganun magsalita. Honest to goodness, hindi naman ako, oy, Nico! Ano ba? Oy! I mean, I do that on purpose. And I don't talk like that all the time. Hindi ganun kataas ang energy ko na parang umiinom ako ng Enervon ng every 2 hours. Hindi ako ganun. So, may similarities kami in terms of energy and quirkiness, sure. Which I've told them, and then I asked Derek Peterson this, and I tweeted about this. Sabi niya sa akin, I asked him, so how would you like Junjun to be? Sabi ko, bahala Mig. Sabi ko, tama ba ang basa ko kay Junjun? Para siyang Phoebe na Joey na may halong Ramon Bautista na halong Manny Jacinto from The Good Place. Sabi niya, yeah, which is true. Kasi that's where I sort of patterned him. Yung speech pattern ni Junjun niya, parang siya, Manny Jacinto ng The Good Place. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that show. Doon ko pinattern yung mannerisms niya tsaka yung speech ni Junjun na kasi ganun si Manny Jacinto. Tapos meron siyang quirkiness and absurdity of Phoebe. Yung mga, at Shaggy, the hair of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo no season 1. So yun, it's a lot of things that I crammed into one, but definitely my most similar thing about him would be sense of humor and the energy, but amplified. Amplified ng malala yun. Sobrang amplified yun. Hindi ako ganun in real life. Nakakapagod kung ganun ako in real life.
Grabe naman kung hanggang real life ganun kataas yung energy ni Migs.
Diba? Nakakapagod din yung real life.
As bilang si Junjun naman, sobrang galing mag-advise. Let's test naman yung galing ni Migs. Lalo na, let's see naman kung anong pinanggagalingan ni Migs in terms of sa pag-a-advise. Lalo na ngayong episode natin na papamagatan natin the facts of love, the tales of the iba't ibang kasawian sa pag-ibig. Alam niyo, inisip ko talaga, ano pa pwede kong anong play of words ba? Talaga brainstorm talaga. Kala mo pinag-isipan naman talaga eh. So, unang tanong is, siguro unang pag-usapan natin is, how to initiate landi during the pandemic, especially na times are different now and it's harder to build something without having that physical connection.
How to initiate a what?
How to initiate landi. Or to shoot the shot, or to flirt, or to start something interesting
Wala
with a
namang
person.
pinagbago eh. Wala namang pinagbago lumandi eh. Kahit naman before pa, no, may social media, lahat naman ng tao lumalandi na sa social media. Kahit yung mga naabot naman yung friends for sale, Farmville, kung bibigay ka, pahingin naman ng puno dyan, bibigyan mo ng puno yung type mo. Wala naman nagbago actually eh. Mas naging intense lang ang mga bagay-bagay kasi the things you do on social media is more amplified. Kasi nga wala na yung physical contact. So honestly, in terms of palalandi, wala naman nagbago. Ganun pa rin. Mas nabibigyan kahulugan na lang natin ngayon kasi nga wala na less yung physical contact. Pero in terms of paglalandi, ganun pa rin siya. You like, you share, you heart, you react. Still the same even before the pandemic, and that's what people did. Mas napapansin na lang natin ngayon yung landi at mas na-amplify siya dahil lahat tayo nasa bahay. Pero wala nagbago. For me, wala nagbago sa how you make landi. Ganun pa rin yun. You tweet, you heart, you comment, you put 100, you put flaming hot emoji, whatever, heart, whatever. Still the same. Luma ng Farmville, no? Napaghahalatan yung edad ko. Anyway, go.
Next question. Ano bang mga do's and don'ts na dapat gawin kapag lumalandi or someone is shooting that shot?
One, don't learn to balance everything. Kasi may mga ibang tao kung makalandi na papunta ka ng stalker eh. Yung, alam mo yung abot na baka ng restraining order. Lahat ng picture ko nilike mo ha. Alam mo yung, hindi, totoo. Magkawag tayo maglokohan. I mean, aminado naman yung mga tao doon. May mga ganon, di ba? Yung, tapos, number 2, hindi nakakatulong sa landi yung comment na napakasarap mo po. One,
nakatanggap ka na ba ng ganon?
Kahit lagyan mo pa ng po, yung gusto po kitang babuyin, kahit lagyan mo pa ng po, yan, ganun pa rin, walang nagbago. Ganun pa rin yun. So I think, and it's completely understandable. Lahat ng tao, kulong sa bahay, I mean, disco, di ba? So one, I think, just common sense and decency. You know, I think nawawala yung good manners minsan sa panlalandi. And some people do that. And really, some people do that. It's true. Diba? Kung makapag-thirst trap. Number 2, in terms of lalandi, don't. If nagpapalandi ka rin naman, diba? Honest to goodness din naman. You have to be very careful din how you engage and you reply. I think people, nowadays, you have to understand, as a co-major, ang dali kasing maglagay ng meaning sa mga salita. Diba? And there's always a sense that something that you try to convey, it gets lost in translation. Wala lang emoji yan, isipin tao, ba't ka galit sa'yo? Hindi ako galit sa'yo, tanga, wala lang ako emoji. Pero do you understand where I'm coming from? May ganun siyang sense eh. And people should be more careful, I guess, when they're trying to make landi and kung nagpapalindi rin sila in terms of how they communicate. I think that's the best thing that I will say. Without being specific about it. Because it's really hard for me to be specific about it unless given a scenario. But that's how I'd say it. You have to be very precise and be very precise sa the way you communicate and what the message you want to convey or want to receive.
I think minsan nag-overthink na rin tayo eh. Nilalagyan natin ng too much meaning yung mga bagay-bagay eh.
Yeah.
Kasi parang we always live by things have an underlying context or something. Minsan, I agree yung sabi mo, minsan nakakalimutan na natin maglagay ng emoji or maghahaha, na minsan naiiba yung context or yung meaning ng understanding ng mga tao na mga pinagsasabi natin. Yeah. So, in relation to that, how do you know if you're reading too much and how to gauge if someone really likes you
When you're
or
asking me that question, that's when you know you're overthinking that. When you're asking yourself, am I reading too much? Probably you are. You're asking the question to yourself. That's the answer to that
Mm-mm.
question.
Eto next. Okay. Sa paglalandi,
Ah,
ang pagiging straightforward ba, does it always work?
depends sa tao. It always depends on it's a case-to-case basis.
Mm.
There is no structure. There is no, one set of rules might not apply to another set of rules.
Mm-mm.
And people tend to, listening to people who give advice, you have to understand. That's why the best people who give advice to you are your friends. Not, it's because it's a case-to-case basis.
Mm-mm.
One set of rules will not apply to you automatically. So for example, if a woman enjoys yung mga straightforward na tao, then swerte ka. But some women don't.
Mm-mm.
Diba? Or some men don't. Depende if you're part of the LGBTQIA community. It's really difficult to assess that. But you just have to you have to gauge. Kasi makikita mo naman with the way people give hints. And I think yun na rin yung nawawala sa mga tao ngayon. Yung sense of, nawawala na yung sense of being able to read between the lines. Sometimes, no? Sometimes. And just take everything as face value. Actually, not just that, but in social media, minsan nakakalimutan mo yung context, yung intention ng tao. Dire-diretso na lang tayo mag-judge. Pako mo sa cruise. Cancel. Yung nawala na yung sense of intention, yung gravity nung ginawa ng tao. Diba? Kaya nga ang justice system ay weighing scale. Hindi naman Twitter ang justice system natin. Sana yun ang logo. But diba? May ganun siya. And people tend, I think, to forget that kind of thing. That everything has a certain intensity. There's subliminal text. You have to read between the lines, diba? For example, this. And there's a comedian said this. Not me. Nilangin ko lang. Mamaya ko or ma-quote dito. Sa comedian, sabi niya na no means no. Diba? Totoo, no means no. At sabi ng comedian, okay, what if the girl says, no, ayoko niya, no. And, diba? There's an intention. And I think that's the problem now that people tend to nawawala. It's the intention, the context. So, straightforwardness is okay, but depende sa timpla ng tao yan. You have to read between the lines, you have to put everything in context, and you have to be clear with your intentions. You have to be clear.
I agree. Na parang what is more important is how it is said rather than what is being said. In short.
These are just words. These are just words. Diba? And I hope sa mga nakakanig po nito, again, I know, no means no, but that's just an example. And I didn't say that. It's a comedian. I'll quote. Marunong ako sa ganito. Okay, so that's yun yung ibig ko sabihin. But I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
How do you know naman the difference if someone is just being nice or someone is flirting? Kasi diba, a lot of times, parang there's a lot of occasions or people na misinterpret yung kanilang mga actions na parang, nagiging mabait lang naman siya pero nagiging, ang interpretation na is, nagiging paasa na siya kasi parang, ang read ng ibang tao is, this person is trying to attempt to flirt tas hindi naman pala. Parang ganon.
I think, honest goodness, and I'll say this publicly, people are actually afraid to flirt na nga rin. With the whole concept of the movement, of Me Too movement, I know a lot of men right now who are afraid to flirt kasi they don't know how to be interpreted anymore. Natatakot na sila. And going back to your question, how do you know whether someone is flirting with you or not? I think it's more complex now compared to before. Dati kasi you know that the person is flirting. Now, meron ng push and pull na natatakot tayo. Minsan personally, may mga kaibigan ako natakot yung, huwag tayo malandin. Ako pero natatakot ako kasi, But we were doing this before. I mean, just flirt. So, honestly, how do you know if someone is flirting? Grabe, ang hirap niyan. It's really relative to experience. And I guess the more experience you have, it's easier for you to know. That's how I would summarize it. The more experience you have in flirting, the more experience you have in being flirted, being flirted to, the more experience and knowledgeable you have in that category. Pero for me, intention pa rin yun eh. Kasi, for example, if you message me at 2 a.m. Who the hell messages me at 2 a.m. just say hi? Come on. Diba? Nagigets mo? It's, you have to, how do you know someone is flirting? Take into consideration the factors. Be sensitive. That's my advice. Be sensitive. Time, place. Ano yan? Did he just message you? Did he or she just message you randomly? Why? Ask yourself, why? Nagpa-thirst trap ka ba? May nakita ba? Did you see each other at the Zoom something? Why? And then you might figure out if that person is flirting with you or not. People don't just flirt online randomly. You're always reminded of someone because of something. Like, oy, nakita ko sila sa party. Like ko nga yung picture niya. Diba? It's not just like that. There's always something. So just be sensitive. That's my advice in terms of flirting, or how do you know if you are being flirted to? Just be sensitive. Be sensitive with the little details. And there are a lot of details scattered around. Just be sensitive enough to notice them.
What landi advice would you give your 18-year-old self? From you now.
What landi advice would I give to myself? Kalma lang, marami pa dyan. Yun, malamang yun na. Landi advice yung bigay sa sarili ko. Pero genuinely, I think I would say, going back in time, mas sabihin ko sa kanya would be, ayusin mo naman yung pananamit mo. Sobrang carefree mo na, wala ka talagang paki sa style mo. Yun ang sasabihin ko. Kasi nung college ako, sobrang wala akong paki sa style. Kasi I always thought to myself, I'm here to study. I'm gonna go home. Saka tambay ako ng live. So I guess I would go back and tell me, kasi uso-uso yung mga boat. Ayaw ko ngayon, uso pa mga boat shoes. Pero, yun talaga yung sabi ko, yun yung bibigay ko advice sa sarili ko. First impressions matter. Yun na lang. First impressions matter. And I think that's something that I would tell my 18-year-old self.
Ito, next question. What landi advice would you give someone who is inexperienced sa paglalandi?
Oh, try it out. There are apps for that. Like what? Bumble, Tinder, or Grindr, even Grindr. Sige. Try it. Well, Grindr. I think iba naman ang purpose ng Grindr. But, sorry. But technically you can. I heard naman you can, for friends. But yeah, fine. Tinder, Bumble. Try it out. Try it out there. Use it as a platform to try out flirting. Don't catfish, for the love of God, but try it out. Try it out if it works. If it's think of it as training wheels. Try it out. You have nothing to lose naman eh. Diba? I'm sorry, I've only used those apps when I'm traveling abroad.
Bakit abroad? Bakit
kasi
hindi sa
alam mo yung naghahanap ako, well, iba naman, nakalagay naman talaga sa description ko. Nakakatawa, Asian kid looking for a tour, whatever. Ganun. Hindi nalagay ko talaga sa description ko. Hi, I'm an Asian kid looking for a tour guide to help me. And they're accommodating. Kasi friends, nakipagkwentuhan, lalakad-lakad, libre ako ng beer, libre ko siya ng, tapos the tour, ganun siya. When nasa Europe ako, ganun yung ginagawa ko. Hey, you Miguel? Yeah, hello. Hi, Natalie. Ganun lang yung mga ganun. So, that's how I would, advise maybe. Kasi kung takot siya, yeah, try niya. Pwede ba fake profile doon? Pwede, no?
Saan?
Sa Bumble or Tinder. Sorry, tagal lang. Huli kong ginamit yung 2018 eh.
Hindi ko rin alam eh.
Hindi ko maalala eh. Ayun,
okay.
try it out.
Ito yung next, okay. Ito. Should dating a friend's ex be off limits?
No.
Siguro,
No.
Kahit parang medyo bros kayo, ganun.
No. For me, no. Because, pero magpaalam ka naman. Ako kasi, I did that. Pero nagpaalam ako. Sabi, okay lang, go. It's a case-to-case basis. But for me, no. Pero, yun nga eh, just because you can, doesn't mean you have to be impolite. And I think that's a major thing and theme naman across the whole dating experience. Just because you can, huwag mo naman sagarin. Just because you can, huwag ka maging impolite. Just because you can, don't forget good manners and decency. Diba? So sa akin, in my opinion, my personal opinion, you can, but be polite. Tsaka, for example, okay, if I'm dating an ex, if I'm dating my friend's ex, agad-agad after nila mag-break up, di ba, nagigets mo? O di, pero kung 5 years after, or like 4 years after, di ba? So may ganun siya. May ganun siyang factor.
So, paano so to sum it all up, kasi parang confusing din yung tinanong niya, paano mo mapapaalam sa taong interested ka na gusto mo sila in a subtle way, and how to not be awkward if and when they reject you or parang friend zone you?
One, I always say, again, depende sa tao yan, but actions speak louder than words, in my opinion, di ba? Kapag lagi mo sinasamahan yung tao, obviously now hindi siya applicable. Anong i-action mo, zoom na tayo. But, depende yun sa love language mo. But I like to think that most of the people naman, my friends, what is that sound? You can drill. Anyway, most of the people na na-encounter ko, actions speak louder than words. May ganun siya. So, maybe subtle, yung samahan mo palagi, chat kayo. Mapapansin naman ng tao yan. Rejection. There is no way to, tumakbo ka, magpakita, tago mo mata mo. I don't know. Kasi, ganito yan rejection. Ako mas gugustuhin ko na ma-reject kaysa keep me hanging on a leash. Mas gugustuhin ko na ma-reject. So for me, I think it's about the perspective. I think rejection is something that you should always be open for, and you should accept willingly. Huwag ka matakot sa rejection. Mas gustuhin ko na ma-reject kaysa hindi ko malaman kung ano pa talaga status, kung ano ba pagtingin niya sa akin. Di ba? So sa akin, kung ma-reject ka, although ano na naman yun, may drill, sorry. But again, masasabi ko lang dyan is how you compose yourself is depending on you. Kapag reject, hindi ka naman siguro mag-breakdown sa kita ng SMega mo, umiiyak, gusto ko na magpakamatay. Obviously, hindi naman siguro ganun, no? So again, babalik naman tayo sa simple little things of common decency. Hindi mo naman siya ba-block, di ba? Na-reject ka lang, Brad or girl, or whatever you wanna identify as. It's just a rejection. Kalma lang, marami pa yan. If it's not meant to you, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be.
Ito ni-reserve ko for last. Pero actually, I agree dun sa sinabi mo na if you're rejected, like, you should not really fear being rejected kasi just let them know about how you feel, di ba? Kasi, like, you wouldn't know. Parang you miss 100%, you miss 100% of the shots you did not take.
Oh. Actually, ang simple lang sagot ko dyan Ito, sige, tuhog natin. Would you rather get rejected or be ghosted? Ako rejected.
Same.
So, ganun din I guess, in terms sa nagtanong na yan, kung nakikinig ka man ngayon, just accept it. And ako, even, it's better to, ako when people tell me that they don't cast me, they send an email, I say, thank you so much for the email, I appreciate this. Because I'd rather know na hindi mo ako kinas, kaysa type ba ako ng mga to, kukunin ba nila ako sa role na to, anong gagawin ko? Diba? Likewise, sa ganyang aspect in terms of dating, mas okay na ma-reject ka. Siyempre, masakit. Hindi ko sinasabing hindi siya masakit. Pero part yun. Kasi kung hindi ka handang magmahal, huwag ka nalang mag-date. Kung hindi ka handang masaktan, huwag ka nalang mag-date kasi part yun eh. Masasaktan ka sa one way or another.
Before we end this episode, what to do kapag na-in love sa best friend? Do you take the risk or do you banlaw the feelings to protect the friendship? Kasi parang feeling ko, isa din tong common dilemma na parang people falling in love with their best friend. Kasi parang sobrang close to yun, all that, parang wala ka namang ibang makakausap. Lalo in this time.
My very simple question to that is, if you're willing to risk the friendship, if you're willing not to be friends with that person anymore, just to be with that person and to be able to call that person your boyfriend or girlfriend, go ahead. But if you're not willing to take the risk, then don't. Kasi usually ganun naman yan People who date their best friends are people who are willing to take the risk not to be friends with them anymore, if ever. And that's something that you have to know deep inside your heart. I think that's the answer to that question. Kasi kung kakayanin mo yan, alam mo yung mga repercussions yan. Wala naman talagang sure ball dyan, di ba? Ang mga best friends na They're married until now. Good for them. Meron din mga best friend naman. Hindi na kami best friends eh. But that's part of it. You took a gamble. You took a risk when you dated your best friend. That's part of it. Diba? Swerte na lang kung nag-date kayo ng best friend mo, balik kayo, best friend pa rin kayo. Swerte na lang yun. At may mga ganun namang cases. But you should be willing to take the risk and take a gamble na to lose your best friend if you are willing to date your best friend. Not saying it will happen, but aminado kang pwede.
Okay. Ayun, there we go and there we have it. That's our episode for today. Thank you so much, Migs, for joining us here in the Ganito Kasi Yan
Thank you
Pod.
so much.
Yun. Before we end this discussion, feel free to promote your social media profiles or where can they find you, people?
Yes, guys, follow me on my social media platforms on Instagram, Twitter, and Kumu. I also have TikTok and Laika. All of my handles are the same. Migs, MIGS _ Almendras, ALMENDRAS. There you go.
There you go. Thank you so much, Migs, for accepting the invitation, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and everything. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us here in the Ganito Kasi Yan Pod. I really, really appreciate it, and thank you so much.
Thank
In
you.
short,
You're welcome. You're welcome.
yan.
Thank
And
you
there
for
we
inviting
go.
me.
That's it for today's episode. See you guys next week here at the Ganito Kasi Yan.